welcome to Frankie Presents Frank's Fun with Frank and Friends, a fundraiser for the Southeast PRT team. This is Frank, I'm Dawn, and today we're going to give you a 2-for-1 tutorial that'll give you 2 tricks towards your dog's novice trick dog title with the AKC. We're going to work on sit on a verbal command, and we're going to work on sit with a hand cue. So if you saw our previous tutorial for get in the box, you'll know that we talked about the necessities of a collar and leash on your dog while you're training, just to kind of keep them in the general area with you, make it easier to keep their focus on you while training. A dog, of course. While we're focusing on the Parson Russell Terriers, this fundraiser includes all breeds and mixed breeds. We don't care. A dog is a dog. We can have fun teaching them tricks. You also need some treats that the dog is willing to work for. Small treats, just a taste, so that they can eat it quickly, do a lot of repetitions and not get full. And a sense of humor, because things can and will get crazy sometimes when you're training tricks, and that's okay. This is all just fun. It's a way to build a relationship with your dog, challenge their brain as well as their body, have a nice, relaxing time with an animal that you share your life with. Right, Frank? All right, so training the sit, I prefer to teach my dogs to sit out of a stand. So the first thing I do is I get my dogs in a standing position. I rest. Frankie knows how to sit already, so I have to be careful with him that I don't get that. No, Frankie, I don't want you to sit right now, okay? Good boys, pose. All right, so he is standing. First thing I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna rest a hand on his rump. In this case, my left hand is gonna rest on his rump. That's just to keep him from coming up and not sitting down all the way. The other thing, I've got a small treat. It's right against his nose. I'm gonna take it back. His nose follows. Where his nose goes, his butt goes in the opposite direction. So as his nose goes up and back, his rear end comes down and in. Okay? As soon as his rear end hits the ground, I'm letting him eat the treat. Good boy! And then he can get up. Good job, buddy. Let's try that again. So we're starting in the stand. Treat against treat against the nose, hand on the rear end. Good boy. Good job. Yes, you did marvelous. That'll do. Yeah, good boy. And he's done a repetition. If you remember from my last tutorial, we talked about only doing 4 or 5 repetitions just to keep it interesting for the dog, and go do something else. Come back to the sit if you want. Or just do 4 or 5 repetitions. You can get this in 30 seconds in the morning before you feed him. It's very quick and easy behavior to teach. Hand on the butt. Good boy. If the dog reaches up with their paws like Frankie is doing, hold the treat a little bit lower. If his head is down low, it's harder for him to reach up with his front because he's got the weight on those front legs. Okay, if I hold it up here, he can, oh good boy, good sit up. He can lift his legs up, lift his whole body up. So play with that. If your dog reaches up and paws like Frankie did, just watch your hand, look at your hand, bring it down a little bit lower. Okay, that's step 1. Hand on the rump, treat on the nose, draw that dog's head back until his rear end sits. That's a silly sit, Frank. And then praise them, tell them how brilliant they are. Second step, we're gonna start saying the name that we're gonna use with this behavior, in this case, sit, just right as their rear end is going to the ground. When you're 100%, they're gonna execute the behavior, we're gonna say it. So we're gonna start labeling it, pairing that word with the action. But we're gonna wait until they actually start doing the action before we say the word. Hand on the rump, sit, good sit. Good boy. I'm also gonna pet them while they're sitting so they don't think they can immediately jump up. If need be, put a hand on their chest and just a couple of pets and then let them get up. This isn't a stay exercise. If they don't wanna get up, that's fine too. I don't care at this point, Okay, but I want them to learn from day one that as soon as they get the cookie, that doesn't mean that they can just jump up, that the game is over. They need to keep listening to me. Sit, good, sit, good boy. What a lovely sit you're doing, little man. All right, good boy. Yay. Okay, so I do that for 5 repetitions, and if you remember from our last tutorial, when the dog can do a behavior first time the way we want it, we can 80% of the time, which is 4 out of 5 repetitions, then we can reasonably assume that the dog understands how to perform that behavior in that environment. Okay, so that is our cue then to make something different, more challenging. Either change the environment up a little bit, ask for a little bit more. In our case, what we're going to do is now we're going to say sit right before we move our hand back. We're also going to put our treat in our pocket. So we're going to start fading away those cookies, because even though we use cookies to train, it doesn't mean cookies are a lifestyle. They're a tool, okay? Tool to teach the behavior and a reward to give the dog later, saying thank you for doing a good job, bud. But we need to fade them away so they don't just become, my dog will only sit if I have a cookie in my hand, and actually become part of the cue. All right, buddy. So don't have any cookies in my hand, but I'm going to move my hand as if I do. And then once he executes the behavior, I'm going to grab a cookie out of my pocket and give it to him. All right, you ready, bud? So hand on the butt, nose. Good boy. I forgot to say sit. Mommy messed up. Yes, she did. Good boy. I made a mistake. You know what? No big deal. It's a trick. Actually, it's no big deal. It's dog training. I forgot to say sit, but no harm, no foul. Didn't get upset with him. Didn't yell at me, so he got confused. We just gave him his cookie, and I'm going to do better next time. All right, let's pose. Sit. Good. Sit. Good job, buddy. And I gave him a cookie that time. Now we're going to do it without the cookie. Good boy. Good job, buddy. You ready? Ready? Sit. Good. Sit. What are you looking at? All right. How do you? Yeah. Good boy. Good boy. He's telling me it's okay that I messed up. Yeah. He's a little distracted. It's okay. I've broken my rule of only doing 5 repetitions of a behavior to make this video for you. So he's like, I'm starting to check out now, which is typical. But that's okay. You ready? Frank? Sit. Good. Sit. Good boy. Good job. Here's your treat. Good boy. Good boy. So I'm going to do that until I get that 80%, 4 out of 5 times. There was a lot of mess in these repetitions I just did here. So I wouldn't make this any harder with Frank until I got at least 4 really good quick sits. And then I would go on to the final step, which is fading away the cookie. And for our trick dog purposes, we're going to tell him, one trick will be telling him to sit and having him sit on command. The other one will be using our hand cue. And we've been developing our hand cue all along, simply how we're moving our hand. That can be our cue for having our dog to sit. All right, buddy. So when we cut out those treats, if we're working in sets of 5, remember the first time we do it, maybe 1 time out of 5, we do not give a cookie for the treat or for the behavior. That's a 20% pay cut. Most of us might work for a 20% pay cut for a while at our job, but after that, we might think twice. All right, Frankie, sit. Good sit. I'm continuing to move my hand, also taking my hand off his rear end. He doesn't need it. Good boy. You ready? Frank, sit. Good job. Good buddy. You ready? Good boy. Come here. Frank, sit. Good job. Good boy. And this time we just get some extra loving. Good boy. You ready? Sit. Good job. Nicely done. Now he gets a treat. Good boy. Good job. Frank, sit. Nicely done. Good buddy. Okay, so they're 1 out of 5 times, 20%. I just randomly snuck that in there. He didn't get a treat, he got some praise, extra praise. And we did 5 repetitions. That would be a training session. Make sure you get your dog up. Notice when I got more active with this, he did it more enthusiastically, because that's how we normally train. We usually aren't trying to teach things step by step very precisely. So experiment with that. You're going to work down to maybe the point where 1 time out of 5 on average, you give them a treat. The rest of the time you give them praise, you give them a toy, whatever you want to do, okay? But the tricks then for the verbal cue is you're going to move your hand the same way you've been moving it all along in this training. But to start out with, we're going to give him the cue, and then we're going to whisper the word sit if we need to. Right? Whoops. And if you're using a leash and you're up on a table, make sure it's not hanging over the edge, because that will pull weight down, and sometimes the dogs will not want to do the behavior because they think they're being pulled down and they're not being correct. You ready? Sit. Good sit. Good boy. All right. Yeah, you ready? Sit. Good sit. No, gotta keep your hand down. Now he put his paws up. I withheld the treat, moved my hand down, and he dropped back down. You ready? Good boy. All right. Nicely done. Good boy. So we're gonna do this with a treat and a whisper until you can fade out that, Frankie. Oh, and Frank did it down. That's not what I asked for. It's okay. I don't care. I'm just gonna fix it. Mistakes are information. Come here, bud. We've been working on down, and obviously he's not as solid on his cue for down as he is for sit. Ready? If he makes a mistake, you can always go back. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna help him sit. Good sit. Remember this game? Good boy. Hey, come over here. Good, lovely job. You ready? You ready? Nicely done, buddy. Oh, good boy. And I'm really gonna make a big deal when he actually does what it is I want him to do. So things are gonna happen. Things are gonna go wrong. It's all good. These are tricks. If your dog really hates it, or you just don't get how to train it, that's okay. You don't have to train it. You can find another trick to train. Or maybe you decide tricks aren't for you and your dog at all. That's okay too. The important thing is that you do something with your dog. Engage what's between the ears. We spend a lot of time paying attention to the body. The mind needs exercise too. And working toward a trick dog title is one great way to exercise the very big brains that our very little white dogs have. And they all have them. We just have to figure out how to tap into them and get the dog to use them. So next time, we're gonna put our 2 tricks together, the get in the box and the sit behavior. We're gonna put those 2 together for our 4th trick for the novice trick dog title. So we hope to see you then. Good girl. Did a very nice sit. Good sit. Good girl.